Very good afternoon to all of you. I normally have a habit of, getting a small exercise done when there is a post-lunch session. If I see sleepy faces, but I think, that won't be applicable over here because a lot of you, all of you have smiles on your face, so not sleepy enough. Otherwise, I would have made you do a taekwondo move, stand up and do one. Hitesh is witness to that. Hitesh was with me, I think a few months back in Nepal. We were there on a panel, and after lunch, we had a lot of sleepyheads, and I was again chairing a session. We got everyone to stand up. There were some, 100 odd people. We got them to do a taekwondo move and hoo-ha, and everyone was like, bright and fresh. It's a very interesting topic, a very interesting panel we have over here. We are going to discuss branding in the new age with digital marketing, content, and conversions. I'm Dr. Vaibhav Joshi, an ex-banker. I have been running my own show for the past 3 years. I run a consulting wing known as Tableturn Tech. I also run a fintech known as Consistency.fintech, and I run a wealth tech known as Eclave.ai. That's what I've been doing for the past 3 years. We have very interesting folks over here, and when we ask you the first question, I would request you to also do a quick introduction and then move on with the answer. See, branding today is not about visibility. It's about credibility and conversion, okay? MSMEs generally don't fail due to lack of marketing. I feel they fail due to lack of visibility. They fail due to the right message not going. They fail because, people don't know them. They might be available across a lot of platforms, but who is this entity is something that, customers may not know. And that is where I feel MSMEs fail today. So I feel, we move to our first segment, which is building a strong online identity and how MSME should show up online. We are going to start with you, Eden, with the first question. But before that, a couple of points. Clarity of message is greater than platform presence. Website plus Google plus social is equal to online presence. Founder visibility and authenticity is extremely important today. It's not just about the brand itself, but the founder visibility and authenticity is extremely important. And last but not the least, consistency in tone, visuals, and promise is very critical from a strong messaging perspective. So Eden, the question to you is, what does branding mean to you in today's digital world?
Thank you, Vaibhav, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eden Menon, and I work for the India Sanitation Coalition, which is a non-profit sector under FICCI. So branding, as you said, I would have answered it differently had I been working for a profit-making organization. When we say branding for a non-profit organization, the first thing we have to keep in mind is budget. So branding is a completely different ballgame when you are working for a non-profit organization. In the year 2014, the Swachh Bharat mission was launched in India. The next year, India Sanitation Coalition was founded by two visionary leaders, Ms. Naina Lal Kidwai and late Mr. Rashid Kidwai. They had in mind to create a collaborative platform to bridge the gap between government priorities, private sector capabilities, and grassroots realities. So the first thing a brand, for what I believe is a brand needs, the trust factor. So when you have a leader like Naina Lal Kidwai, the organization you're working for is founded by a leader who's respected globally, the respect comes automatically. So the first, we already had that tick. Naina is a leader who is known for her ethical practices. She's known for her honesty, transparency globally, and she comes with several firsts. She's the first female Harvard graduate. She's the first female to lead a foreign bank in India, that's HSBC, and she's also the first female president of FICCI. So when you are working with a leader of that level, your branding has to be completely different. The second advantage that we had is that we are founded under the umbrella of FICCI, one of the largest business chambers of India. So that gave us a voice. However, in the year 2018 or 2019, we made a decision of launching our own website. We activated our own social media platform, not because we wanted to create a different organization, no, but our founders realized something very fundamental, that sanitation is a coalition effort. Sanitation is not at all a glamorous department, you know. When I tell someone I'm working in the sanitation industry, the first thing they come up, आप toilet बनाते हो? नहीं, हम toilet नहीं बनाते हैं. But people don't even know what are the different kind of work that is there in the sanitation industry. So when I say an organization where I have nothing to sell, there is no product that I come along with. Our end goal is behavioral change. So that is where, you know, digital amplification actually helps us scale impact. A sanitation success story taking place somewhere in a remote village of Uttar Pradesh can actually inspire someone to take action in Odisha, you know, ring some bell in Delhi for some policy changes, and maybe gain me some partners from USA. So branding, I believe, while I'm working for a non-profit organization, is not to be the loudest voice in the room, but to be the trusted voice when decisions are being made.
So Eden, I tend to agree with you over there. In my personal capacity, I'm an advisor to Grameen Foundation, and there is a lot of activities that we have done with respect to, you know, women entrepreneurs, micro entrepreneurs.
Right.
And one of you know, the projects that we ran diligently this fiscal was to help them create their digital identity.
Absolutely.
You know, we did trainings with respect to digital marketing, social media marketing, how to create your personal branding, how to create your Instagram, how to market your goods, how to use Canva for that matter. You know, we created content templates, so on and so forth. And I think if digital identity and, you know, it's seeded from the social sector, then programs like NRLM, SRLM, if they start picking it up, I think it can go scales in a country like India. Coming to you, Kanchan, do you think that personal branding has become unavoidable for small businesses?
Yeah, hi.
Let's start with your introduction.
Yeah,
and then.
my introduction. I'm Kanchan. I'm the CEO and founder for Zykrr. So Zykrr is a customer experience management platform. What we do is we source the voice of customers for the brand so that it becomes imperative for them in the feedback loop cycle as well as decision making to hear the voice and then make decisions. So that's what we do. So we play that pertinent role of bridging the gap between the customer and the management. So that said, thanks so much for having me on the panel, and I'm happy to share my experiences. I am not a marketing expert, just putting a disclaimer out. So giving a founder lens, like you said, whether it is personal branding has been mandatory or not, we've seen founders becoming celebrities today, right? So there's a lot of power of influence that they carry with them in terms of, you know, how they want to take the brand ahead, what is the message that they are talking to their audience, etc. But that said, step back, there is one which we call as a brand identity, and then we have the founder's identity. Initially, in the beginning, for MSMEs, I believe it is important and it's critical that the founder lend their brand for the brand to form itself, right? So that's the weight that the founders carry in the beginning itself. I did that. I come from McKinsey & Company, and after I left, I felt like, who am I? What am I doing here? What is my identity going to be like? But that's where you start forming, and that's where the personal branding starts coming into being, with the founder first, to finding their purpose and what they stand for, and second, lending that to the brand to form what that stands for and how it takes it forward. I hope that resonates the best.
No, yeah. I do agree with you. I want to cite an example over here, and, you know, it's again a micro enterprise based out of Mumbai. It's known as Aurum Foods, okay, and Anisha is the founder, so she runs that. What she does is, it's a small food enterprise, and they specialize in, you know, they specialize in catering for a certain category, HNIs, okay. But she has created her brand in such a manner that, you know, now everyone wants to be synonymous with Aurum Foods. And the latest one being, you know, they did Priyanka Chopra's brother's wedding. Okay, it was such a small enterprise. I have seen that enterprise grow from, you know, being a nothing, a very small stall in a food court, to, you know, a multi-crore organization that it is today. So yes, I completely agree that, you know, personal branding of the founder is extremely critical. for the small, business.
Yeah, and just to add on over here, I think just if I take the liberty of seeing, we've seen big companies doing a lot of different, like, you be the Pepsis and the Colas of the world and all of that. And sometimes you feel like, are they really healthy? Do the founders or the company heads themselves are consuming it or not? So there is this bridge of authenticity that bridges the gap between when the founder lends their identity and say, okay, I stand for this, I also do, and I believe in the purpose, and that's where the company is born out of it, and so does believe in its purpose. So that identity rolls into the brand. Yeah.
Absolutely. Coming to you, Sriwant, what are some of the biggest online branding mistakes that MSMEs make? And let's start with your introduction first and then over to the answer.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. This is Sriwant with W, not K. That's okay. People do make that mistake quite often. So, it's Sriwant, and I run a company called IVORY. We are into branding and digital marketing. We've been running this company for about 8 years now. And in regards to this particular aspect, this discussion about MSMEs and their branding challenges and the founder branding challenges, which has become totally critical today, that led me to start my another platform called the Startup Caffe, where we talk to MSMEs and founders and we bring their story out, we do PR and stuff like that. So yeah, some of the mistakes, some of the biggest mistakes that MSMEs or small companies, small businesses can do is to hire an agency and mandate them to do social media branding left, right, center. I see that happening all the time, and that really hurts me because, it's waste of effort, it's waste of money. Unless your positioning is super clear in your mind, unless your ICP, which is your ideal client profile, is clear in your mind, and unless you clearly define what is it that you're going to talk about, unless you define one platform that works for you, just plastering all over social media, doing everything, the shiny object syndrome, doing everything that you feel needs to be done is the biggest blunders brands do. So B2B marketing has channels like, let's say, LinkedIn. Then B2C marketing would have vehicles like Instagram. But if you want your message to resonate with clients on B2B as well as B2C and putting the same festive post and doing things like that, that goes nowhere. So that, I think, is the biggest blunder that MSMEs usually do. Taking one cookie cutter and pasting it all over the place, it just does not give them any result. And eventually, they end up sometimes firing the agency, firing the marketing guys, saying that marketing doesn't work.
But Sriwant, in that case, one quick follow-up question. Do agencies have curated product for MSMEs? And why I'm asking this follow-up question is because agencies generally look for, SMEs or players who are deep-pocketed and are able to pay a good retainer and then follow it up with, digital marketing expenses every month, say on a Meta or, other platforms. And when we talk about MSMEs or micro enterprises, they may not have that many deep pockets, and hence they may be forced to take a, off-the-shelf plug-and-play kind of a product when it comes to digital marketing. In that scenario, and since you have been running, an agency, do you think that agencies should also have curated maybe low-value products for MSMEs which can be offered to them at a lower price so that MSMEs are able to, small businesses are able to pick it up and probably then customize it to their, usage?
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I'm at a very curious place here because I've been a corporate about 15 years of my life where I hired agencies. I worked with brands like Sony and Fuji, and I was heading marketing. And I used to hire agencies, and they used to come with fancy proposals. And now I am on the other side of the table where I go and meet brands like Sony and Fuji and pitch them. So I understand what you're saying. Many a times, because revenue is the primary driver for any company, like it's the lifeblood, right? In order to survive, if I'm running an agency, in order to survive, the natural inclination would be to look for high-paying clients and offer them as many as things with the emotion कि चलो कुछ तो चलेगा, some platform will work, and then it'll go on and I'll be able to continue the relationship. But the fact of life is times have changed a lot in last 1 or 2 years. Things are totally changing. I think people are able to see through that everything will not work for me. I think now when I meet clients, so I've been running this for 8 years, but now last couple of years, I would say post-COVID, clients have also become very, very careful with what they do, especially the ones who are conscious of the fact that digital is a key driver for their success. They become conscious, and when they talk to agencies like ours, they do talk about specific, not like everything, but specific things that will help them win. And we also, when we go to them, we also want eventually, because the relationship will not survive. Eventually, if I sell everything and nothing works, then it will not go the long way, right? So I also have to look at it, and he's also aware. So I think that conversation is already happening when the clients are aware, and now the narrative is that you look for the thing that will work for me, which appeals to my target customer, which appeals to my success, and the probability is high.
There's a very pertinent problem in the D2C space today. So we'll close this segment with a one line. Once identity is clear, content becomes the voice of the brand. We'll move on to the second segment, that content that builds trust. And here we are talking about content as credibility and not noise. So content is everywhere, but trust is rare, okay? And we'll come to the content section over here. We are going to start with you, Kanchan. Okay, I feel that educational content is far greater compared to promotional content. Showing process, expertise, outcomes helps create that identity. Okay, so the question to you is, what content format gives MSMEs the highest trust ROI?
Yeah, sure. Coming from the premise of why audience is engaging on a content, I would look at a content if it is something for me, right? I'm learning from it, it's making me better, or I'm able to do something more than what I'm doing today. It's knowledge or accelerating my skills. Either of the two, some of the two domains that I'll be into. So considering from that lens, if I'm putting up a content which is authentic, how I formed, what I did, what decisions we took, and why we took one versus the other. Say, for example, in our enterprise tech, if I say I picked up this CRM versus that CRM, how it worked for me, why I changed it or plugged in or do something else over there, or put in some case studies on how the clients are getting impacted with it. So rather than just giving a kind of a gyan, let me put it in quotes there, it is more about how are you empowering your audience to be better. So being authentic. Second is being absolutely consistent. And third is being very, very clear and sharp shooting into exactly what you want to do with that content. So these are the 3 rules of content if I have to look from a format angle.
Well said, well said. Sriwant, moving to you. Can AI generated content damage brand authenticity?
So I see that question a little invalid now, because you can't really generate content without AI, right? That's the direction, that's the future we've already moved into. It's not something which is a distant future, it's already happening with us, people like us. So when it's textual content, you have, support in terms of ChatGPT. When it's video, when it's graphic, your softwares of past generations like Adobe also have, moved on to AI-driven support. So the question is invalid whether AI is required or not. Of course, you will have to learn to live with AI. So neither us on this side of the table or the other side of the table can imagine a world where content would be now generated without AI. Now we see movies, getting created with AI. So AI is definitely there. Now the question is, how can you create AI content which is more human? That has become, for people like us, that has become the biggest challenge. How do you write a blog which looks like it's written by a human, right? Asking a content writer to not use ChatGPT is like asking your CA not to use calculator. It's not going to happen. They will eventually use it. But the thing is, what we need to train everyone is to humanize the whole thing. And the soul will come when a human starts the thinking process. So I will have to sit and think about the problem. That is something which I can't outsource to AI. That will never happen. I will have to think, what is the problem that I have to solve for this client, and how, the story has to come out. Now, what AI can do is AI can refine the whole thing, right? Up to an extent that I never could, right? So that's the role of AI. But the generation of idea and the generation of how we solve the problem has to be from our side. And if that is getting solved and AI is visible as a let's say a cover or a jacket on the whole content, it's fine. I think it has to solve a problem.
Could I add just a bit over
Please.
here? So I absolutely agree with you. When this whole Gen AI thing and the ChatGPTs of the world came into being, we were all skeptical of reading content which was directly thrown to us through AI. We were passing judgments. Oh, this was written by this is this. I figured it out. I'm not going to consume it, and all of that. But I think gradually, over a period of time, the acceptance has gone a bit higher. I am ready to read content from AI as long as it's relevant to me. I think that acceptance has come in. So like he said, I can't generate content now without AI. Don't ask me to do that because speed is of essence and relevance is of essence. And if I am having an agent or if I am having an AI which is serving the purpose of maybe another human being that I had before, I'm ready to consume that as long as it's relevant and it's sharper.
So we have a saying for that, Kanchan, that as far as and like you rightly said, as far as there is speed, I'm ready to consume the content that it is generating based on the inputs that I'm giving. And I completely am in sync with you today. It's very difficult to live without AI. But on a very, very separate note, there is also a discussion thought that is there that whatever you feed AI, it makes AI that much more intelligence. But that's a different conversation for a different day. Eden, coming to you, how much content is enough for a small business?
Well, how much content that we keep discussing, as you said, within our team. Content for us is all about success stories, on behavioral change, the different success stories that we have. As we are not a large organization, maybe 2 or 3 high quality content in a week keeps the engagement going. However, when I say content, we do not only narrate stories of ourselves or my own organization, we rather narrate stories of our partners. I'm sure many people in this room will be aware how organizations like ITC, NIARA, Reckitt, GMR, JSW are making significant strides at WASH initiatives. So those stories are all available on our website. We narrate their stories, the kind of work they do in remote places. So content should feel like conversation. It should not be like a campaign. So that's how we believe. That's what we do.
So, in short, quality content doesn't sell immediately. It sells quietly and in the long term.
Absolutely.
Very well said, very well said. With that, we close the second segment and move on to the third segment of the, this thing. Conversion and credibility. Okay, very interesting segment. Turning attention into inquiries, sales and loyalty. Many MSMEs get likes and views, but no businesses. Where does conversion break? Clear value proposition, website landing page hygiene, speed of response as a brand signal, reviews, testimonials, social proof, post-sales experience, brand memory. So we come to you, Kanchan, first. What kills conversion despite good marketing?
Yeah, so you may do a fabulous campaign and you may get a celebrity and you may do all the awareness that you need to do. But at the same time, if your product is not walking the talk, if it is not really good enough for your audience, then definitely that's a broken conversion, right? That's where the authenticity goes for a toss. So even when you are buying and you are purchasing, you are referring to your friends and colleagues before you actually make a purchase. You're no longer trusting what is being fed on the social medias and all. So that's where, yes, authenticity and trust, which is going to be actually more and more difficult as things go by, because there's so much of clutter around. There's so much of noise, chaos, everything over there. Your real proof is your core customers, and that's what we stand for at Zykrr. Your core customers speaking for you and referring you further, and that's where the spread will go. Definitely that'll be very slow. It has to be powered by marketing. All has to work together. It has to go hand in hand and the balance has to come into being. But it can't be shallow marketing anymore. Yeah.
Well said. Sriwant, to you, what is the single biggest trust factor before a customer buys?
I think the single biggest factor would be social proof. It has to be social proof. See, what happens is now, as consumers have become smarter, people understand that there are ads and people understand that things are paid. But when you go to, let's say, a website and you go to a social channel and you see unaided videos by actual genuine users. Like that's why there's a huge rise of this UGC, which is user generated content. So when a client's a customer sees that there are lots of unedited raw videos and actual users who are putting their comment, putting their videos, putting whatever they have to say about the product, I think it creates the most solid impact in the minds of someone who has to take a purchase decision. I think that's something which we also guide to, most of our clients and people we work with these days, that don't, focus on heavy production budgets. Don't do things which are very expensive, very fancy, which take a lot of time. Just go to your customers and shoot their raw videos. Shoot their raw content, take their pictures, take it in their home setting, wherever your consumers are using your product, try and capture those moments of truth and put that wherever you have to put, where people will come and your people who are sitting on the fence have to come and take a decision. Nothing creates more impact than that.
So essentially, what in the older days we used to call testimonials, customer testimonials,
Yeah,
but
yes.
social acceptance when it comes to smaller businesses. It would be very interesting to also probably, have a offline discussion, not on the panel, but how do you differentiate between curated testimonials or planted testimonials vis-a-vis the true testimonials? Because from a plagiarism perspective, or from a rather taking the customer in a particular direction perspective, that would also be very interesting to know.
Yes. Absolutely. So yeah, of course, as you, it's easy to guess that there is a rise in knowledge of this kind. So people know that you need to create user-generated content, and hence every brand is trying to do that. And how do you differentiate is, I would say, a level 2 problem for MSME. I think most of the MSME where they are failing is they are not able to fix the level 1 problem, which is what is their clear positioning, what does their product do, and how does it impact their customers. I think once you solve that level 1 problem, that is when you can upgrade to level 2 and talk about how do we now differentiate and how do we create variety of this content.
Well said, well said. Eden, coming to you, is branding incomplete without a conversion strategy?
Absolutely. Branding without conversion is like storytelling without listening. So if, suppose I'm successful in creating a brand awareness for my organization, but I'm unable to track the journey of my client. Where does he start? If I'm not able to encourage him to take the next step, that is maybe to inquire, sign up, participate, meet, then the credibility breaks there. So as a brand manager, I have to monitor his journey. For us, for a non-profit, it is from being discovered to participate. Having said that, each rupee that we spend on branding must translate into measurable impact on ground, because for a non-profit organization, conversion is not about clicks, it's about changing lives.
Very well said, very well said. Branding ends where customer experience begins.
Absolutely.
So with that, we end this segment. And do we have 5 more minutes, 2-3 more minutes? Or are we done? 2 minutes, okay. Oh, there, I can't see that. Okay, 1 minute and 41 seconds. So then we have a quick, time for a rapid fire round. I put 3 questions over there. Eden, let's start with you. 1 branding mistakes MSMEs must stop immediately.
Stop designing your campaign like a corporate. Be true to yourself about what you can do, and then draw a campaign strategy around it.
Fantastic. Kanchan, 1 digital channel MSMEs must not ignore in 2025.
I think it will be your website. I know there are a lot of installs and everything around, but your website is a source, true source from where everything is getting picked up. So please don't ignore it.
Sriwant, 1 metric that actually reflects brand success.
Repeat customer, I would say.
Fantastic.
How many people are coming back?
Fantastic. I love that answer. Thank you, everyone. That's all from this panel. Thank you for your wonderful attendance and the patient here.